Get him out, get him out. Oh, stop! Stop right there. Let's go.
This is
Hey, what's up guys? We're talking about the McGregor Malignaggi sparring videos today after Paulie made another round with the media in response to Dana White releasing the videos on Instagram. The audio you're about to hear is a mix of his segments on the MMA Hour and MMA Junkie Radio. So without further ado, here they are.
I did not know anything was going to be recorded. That was actually told to me that they were not going to record. So when I found out that he was taking pictures, I asked for the footage that I thought would only be on the surveillance cameras in the gym. I had no idea that the guys with the cameras in the gym were also recording, because nowadays this technology, the same camera that takes pictures can also record. So I had no idea they were recording, because I was told they were not going to be recording. When the footage came out with the knockdowns, pushdown, I was like, you know what? I was like, this does not look as obvious as I pictured it when it happened to me, you know? And then, it's just edited so good that I had to watch it like 3 times for me to realize, okay, now I can remember a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? But it was the hand behind the neck and, pushing down and, not a punch not landing. I remember specifically nothing landing. No punch landed. Nobody in the entire gym thought any punch landed. Joe Cortez didn't even blink saying no knockdown. Like, it didn't look anywhere near as controversial as this footage had made it out to be. The editing was, and the angles of the cameras that they used were done in an excellent manner. This was like a Hollywood style edit, And of course he mixed in the 12th round, which, I said from the start I didn't do very well in the 12th round, He starts the highlight clip with that 12th round highlight of him landing the left hand. I don't remember it exactly like that. I thought he was more of a push off instead of him pushing down on my neck, in the moment of action. You don't remember exactly how it was. It's actually the result of the push down on my neck, because it almost acts like a tug of war where, like you're playing tug of war and you're a kid and then you let go of the rope and the other person goes flying. Mm-hmm. He's got his hand on my neck so strongly, and he's throwing that little right hook. He's got his left hand on my neck and he's throwing his little right hook inside, and I'm trying to pull up as hard as I can now, in case he's going to repeat the shot, in case he's going to do something else, and he lets it go. So when he lets go, what happens? I go flying and I fall. It's that same type of effect like when you're playing tug of war. That's the best example I can give. When you're playing tug of war as a kid, and you're pushing as hard as you can, and you let go, the other person goes flying, or the other person lets go and you go flying. It was that kind of effect at the instant of that I went to the canvas.
Alright, so let's talk about that a little bit. First and foremost, I don't think this moment was a knockdown. It doesn't look like Conor landed any clean shots, and anything that did land wasn't thrown with any real force behind it. Now, whether or not it would be counted as a knockdown in a boxing match, I don't know. I think it depends on the referee and his visual perception of the moment as it happens. Tom Taylor, a licensed California State Athletic Commission boxing referee and judge, gave his take on the knockdown video while reviewing the footage in an interview with MMA Fighting. In the interview, Taylor said, "I can't tell you how I would have scored it live. I may have called it a knockdown, because the last thing to land was a short right hand to the side of Paulie's head. That could still constitute a knockdown. It's a judgment call, and I think it could go either way. I wouldn't argue it either way if a referee said it was a knockdown or no knockdown. Live, it looked like a knockdown. But when you slow it down, you can see how he has him held down behind his neck, behind his head. Paulie pulls up, and Conor lets go. Paulie's momentum is taking him. And then there's that short little right hand that lands. So it'd definitely be a judgment call right then and there. But looking at this video, I would say no knockdown. That being said, Taylor pretty much agrees with Paulie's assessment of the slowed down footage, but I have 2 problems with that assessment. One, when I watch the slowed down footage, I see Paulie begin to throw a right hook or cross at the same time that Conor throws a straight left. Paulie sees the punch coming, and he tries to slip left and duck in the middle of his own punch. Both men miss during this exchange, but the momentum behind Paulie's punch causes him to overextend, and he becomes off balance, and he never really recovers. He tries to stand back upright, but all of his weight is on his front leg at this point, and he just tips on over. And my second problem with this is the footage looks different slowed down, because you're seeing something totally different when it's slowed down. It doesn't accurately depict the moment in real time. Don't get me wrong, You're still seeing what happened, and you're seeing it in greater detail, but it doesn't accurately show the momentum of Paulie's missed shot, or how Conor's hand being on the back of his neck truly affected the situation. Go watch the video in real time. It doesn't look like Conor is forcefully pushing down on Paulie's neck. At least it doesn't look that way to me. I think Conor's hand placement was just a reaction to Paulie's positioning and how close they were to each other after they both missed their shots. His hand was only on the back of Paulie's neck for 35 milliseconds in real time. That's why I wouldn't call this a knockdown or a pushdown. Paulie just simply got off balance and fell to the mat. But what I don't understand is why a boxing analyst and a former boxer is so adamant that Conor's hand being on the back of his neck caused him to fall. Now, I'm not trying to be hard on Paulie here, I just don't see what he sees. I don't know if he just watched the video in slow-mo and looked for anything to validate his pushdown theory with total disregard for the real-time footage, or if he truly believes that this is what happened. But, you know, maybe more importantly, I don't understand what he's saying is edited or pieced together. I mean, with exception to the second angle shown on the knockdown footage, other than that, they were just two pieces of footage that were trimmed way down to release what Conor's camp was comfortable putting out there before the 26th. I don't think anyone, including Conor and his team, were really impressed with the knockdown footage, and that is why it was accompanied by the other video that they released. But at least that way they could clear up the knockdown pushdown debate while still giving fans something worthwhile to view from one of the two athletes fighting on August 26th. Of course, they weren't going to release any footage of Paulie doing any good. They're not promoting him. He doesn't have a fight coming up. It's not about him at this point in time. I don't know why anyone would have expected anything different, but aside from all that, this also happened.
I'm actually being told right now that Dana is on Sky Sports in the UK at the moment. This is coming from someone who's listening named Tony Griffin, and he said that the sparring session was a one-way beating for 12 rounds.
Look, a lot of the build-up recently, the last few days, we know has been dominated by the Paulie Malignaggi round. Now, we saw that footage you released of the sparring session. He says it was heavily edited to make Conor look good. What's your response?
What am I, Steven Spielberg? Come on. It's footage. It's footage of the actual sparring. Let me tell you what, I was there for all 12 rounds, and Paulie has said some crazy things, some bad things about me. I felt sorry for the guy. It was a one-way beating, and a lot of people were saying Conor couldn't box. Paulie was, you know, obviously lying about everything that he said about the sparring match, so I released it.
Dana's the, you know, he's obviously the ringleader of this whole thing. Of course he's going to say that. Yeah, of course. And like I said, and that's probably the main reason why the entire sparring will never come out. That right there, because then you're going to wind up looking really stupid. I got no problem releasing the full tape. The problem is that Conor doesn't want Mayweather to see everything that he's doing and everything that he's working on. Those were just some small clips. Like I said, I've given you the breakdown of where I went good, where I went bad. You know, I keep it real. I keep it real. And then there's moments where I'm good and there's moments where I'm bad. And I've kind of broken them down. To look ridiculous and to say it was 12 rounds, first of all, if I'm out of shape, here's the common sense part, Ariel, and you might understand this better than most. Okay. If I'm not even in great shape and I'm getting my ass kicked every single round, how do I even make it past 12? How do I get to 12? Was it close, the sparring session, or was it very one-sided in Conor's favor? It was very one-sided. It was an absolute beating. And guess what? I think it was the right thing for Paulie Malignaggi to definitely leave for his health's sake. Everything I said before even this video came out was true. You know what I'm saying? I said, you know, there's a push down, knockdown in there. I was talking shit before it happened. You know, you're not going to see that, but you do see the push down, knockdown. And then I said, you know, 11, 12 were not good rounds for me. You know, I don't remember exactly, you know, how they played out, but I remembered that particular left hand was something I got hit with in round 12. And then I remember at the end of that sequence where he shoved me into the ropes. And that sequence ends, you know. As a matter of fact, I bounced off those ropes and started punching back at him there, but, you know, you don't see that part because they added it back to the round where I go down, you know. So it was a nice little Hollywood edit, nice little footage, you know, two different edits, two different videos put together. You couldn't find 20 seconds of concurrent action out of 36 minutes to just put up. You know, you got 20 seconds there of an edit. You couldn't find 20 concurrent seconds of action where you could just show an advantage being played out in 20 seconds. Some people say, oh, no, we knew they weren't the same video. I don't know if you really knew they weren't the same video, because if you knew they weren't the same video, how in the world do I wind up on the canvas with no punches landed? Conor's trying so hard. He's just trying so hard. Like, no, guys, listen to me. I can do this. I'm going to knock Floyd Mayweather out in 2 rounds. Well, this isn't a Disney movie, my friend. This is not a Disney movie. This is real life.
So with that, I think I'll end with this. I don't think that anything out there right now paints a perfect picture of how those 12 rounds truly played out. Dana's biased, the footage that was released is biased. Paulie has changed his story a couple different times and he can't even admit that he lost his balance. So we'll never know the full truth about the sparring session until it's released, if it ever really is released. Personally, if I was Dana White, I'd put the sparring session on Fight Pass, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this whole situation. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. That's a wrap. Deuces, my friends.